With Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. Let's talk about the ugly duckling phase. And if you don't know what the ugly duckling phase, it is an affectionate term that has been used for dozens, if not more years. I don't know how long it's been in the ortho textbooks. I'm not sure if it's in the pediatric dentistry textbooks, but we definitely learned about it in basic ortho 101 in dental school. So I would suggest you use your friend Google, what is the ugly duckling phase in orthodontics or in dentistry? They might call it the ugly duckling stage. I am going to read you, I just literally went with the first one that came up in Google, and it's some dental office in some other country. I'm not sure what this prefix is, but okay, now it's gonna bother me if I don't know. Oh, this was in the UK. Okay, so thank you, Hest Bank Dental Care. I'm going to read you what Hest Bank Dental Care says about the ugly duckling stage. Have you ever worried about the way your children's second teeth are coming through? Second teeth? Okay, that's weird. This is a really common question boring. A particular concern for parents is the ugly duckling stage. This is a normal stage of dental development, usually after the age of 7 to 12, preceding the eruption of permanent canines. I don't know about 7 to 12. I would call it 7 to 10. It is caused when the upper, central, and lateral incisors are tipped laterally, created by the unerupted canines. It's just an awkward stage before the canines drop. As the canines grow, they push the roots of the incisors, As the canines grow, they push the roots of the incisors, producing tipping and resultantly a midline space between the front teeth. This is the weirdest English ever. The midline space is normally transitory. Who wrote this? ChatGPT? British ChatGPT. And the incisors usually assume normal alignment when the upper canines erupt into position, creating a pressure back the other way. This is terrible. If there is not enough room in the mouth for the canines to align properly, that's when we consider braces for your child. Okay, this was actually a terrible write-up. I should have read it before I read it. Basically, it's an awkward stage that every single person goes through who actually has a good bite. It's a good thing. So whenever I see a kid in the ugly duckling stage, I don't call it that. I just, whether it's my nieces, my nephews, my, random kids I meet, friends of friends, I go, wow, your teeth are so nice. Your kids are going to be, I know there's some spaces right now, but they're going to close on their own as you get older. Your parents are going to be so lucky that you don't have to hopefully have so much braces, or maybe not any braces at all. So that's just my thought. So if you see a patient that comes into your office for a phase 1 screening at 7, 8, 9, and they're in that temporary ugly duckling phase, as long as they are class 1 around the house, good vertical, no major deep bite, no major open bite, no sign of habits, no signs of myo issues, no signs of perio issues. Gosh, I hope not as a kid. So vertical's good, transverse is good. You got plenty of space for the teeth to come in. You have that nice 6 millimeters of space, ideally in the top front. I know this is not the best example, but this was the best one I could find, a nice class 1 case with good vertical and some gaps. You should have some spaces around the house, top and bottom. The ideal amount of space to have left over in mixed dentition is 6 millimeters. Obviously, that's going to go away as more teeth come in. That's when you only have the 4 incisors in. Once the canines drop, the spaces are going to close down. So the canines are going to use those front spaces. So front spaces in that intermittent stage are normal, and it's exactly what we want. Now, it's when we don't have the front spaces that we need to do some expansion or widen the arches in some way or another, because the arches didn't grow to the right width because likely of diet or habits. So, if you eat a soft or processed diet, your jaws don't grow the right size or forward enough or out enough. So the ugly duckling stage means the parents have actually done a great job, and the kid has done a great job, and genetics did a great job. So it's all of the above. All of the above pieces have to come into play for you to get the ugly duckling stage, which is a great thing. You want that. But parents nowadays, they can want to get worried, they want to jump to conclusions, they see spaces, they think it doesn't look good, they see other people that don't have spaces. Well, those people are actually going to have crowding later. So lucky you that you temporarily have spaces. Now, my policy has always been for this stage is if a patient or parent comes in, I say, wow, it's so great that you came in. Thank you so much. We're going to keep an eye on you. Listen, I'm going to give you something, news that you weren't expecting. This would be my scripting. And I always like to treat every kid in my chair like my own family, and I treat them the way I would treat my own family. So would I do braces, or would I start treatment on a patient who really doesn't need it, where it's probably going to get better on its own? no. I mean, I don't want to take your money. Like I would feel guilty if we started your case, unless there was a few exceptions, and I'm gonna just mention it lightly. There's occasionally a few times when we do need to start. Perhaps the kid is in acting or modeling, and I was in California practicing, so it happened. I don't know that these kids were ever famous, but they were trying to be, you know, acting or modeling. Or if they were having, low self-esteem or some psychosocial issues due to the spacing. I mean, that sounds like they just need to get some better friends, or they're just maybe hanging out with too many bougie people who would just get phase one when it's not needed. But occasionally mom will say, yeah, that's kind of happening. I think, I say, well, why don't you go home and talk about it with your family? And then you come back, and if you still want to do it, I will do it, But I'm just letting you know, this will probably get better on its own. We could, instead of doing 2 sets of braces, we can do, or 2 sets of ortho, we can just do 1 when he gets a little bit older, and it probably is going to be very short and easy, and occasionally they get super lucky and they don't need any. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but we definitely, regardless, please, even if you don't want to get started, please come back every 6 months. We're going to keep you on 6-month recall. If for any reason, when those canines start coming down, and we will monitor them, if they do not start smushing the other teeth together like they normally do, then we will get started. And usually that makes them very happy. I mean, what can people say? You're obviously a respectful doctor, that you're not trying to take their money. You're willing to put the patient on recall. You're trying to save them money. Now, sometimes kids start crying, Now that's why I don't want them to make a decision on the spot. I mean, obviously if mom is like being super pushy, all right, you can have your braces, I don't care. But I like to tell them to take a few weeks and talk about it at home, because what I don't want is, later dad comes back and says, I heard these really weren't needed, but you put them on anyways. That's not great. And that has happened to me before in this exact situation. Mom said, yes, we need it, psychosocial, acting, whatever. And then dad's mad. What type of doctor are you how ethical are you? So we want everyone to be on board with the reason that we're starting phase 1 braces on ugly duckling patients. That's all. That's it. And then, hey, I'm cool. You want to take my money for something that's not needed? Okay. Take my money. All right. Thanks so much.